Anuradha, in your sort of investments, Kaleidofin as at the bottom end, and in addition to gold, women invest in chit funds. How do you even start to explain the concept of mutual funds being different from chit funds? How do you do that?
A great question. And actually, like this is also, you have to figure out whether it is suitable for them, right? Like in terms of what are you really looking for, and therefore, like as is it as easy as going to your neighborhood and influencing your neighbor, etc. So the starting point is actually to say that, like is actually fairly easy. When we did it, before we executed, I think like a lot of thought went into how do you communicate, what is it that you want to tell people. But when we actually started communicating, it turned out that it is not very easy, because most people are in your same strata, right? Like in the low income segments, and everybody has liquidity crisis close to each other. So therefore, when you're looking at a ROSCA or a chit fund and basically like trying to withdraw money from them, the periodicity actually anyways like has a little bit of an issue in there. So money lenders are actually like ending up being the larger choice, as opposed to something which is actually like, like a planned kind of chit fund equivalent system. So in that context, it became easier for us. We don't explain mutual funds in the way the theory works. What we end up communicating with them is to say, like it is not enough for you to only have like, like very low return products. Therefore, you have to start putting your money where it is safe, where actually like you do get some return which is immediately there, as opposed to a chit where the expenses are too busy, which is like less expensive than a chit as well, and like where it is easily available for you to withdraw. Now the intent is also to say, don't withdraw. These are instruments which allow you to probably get a loan against them at a much lower rate, as opposed to you're withdrawing the funds, losing both your savings as well as incurring debt, right? So it's a double whammy in most of these households. So then talking to them about mutual funds is easier. Like it is as easy or as difficult as explaining a bank account, and it is as easy or as difficult as getting them to do it, because like most of them have bank accounts and they never use them, because the minute they need to step into a bank, like the whole environmental thing puts them off, right? Like so it's as easy as that. So they are much more, if you tell them to go to a BC and the BC is asking them for a business correspondent and they're asking them for ATM pin, the safety factor plays on them, whereas going to an ATM is easier. So if you tell them that, like here is an instrument which is as easy as taking money out from the ATM, and then like, like from and it is available as quickly, then they're happy enough to do it. So it's a complex process of communication. But what they kind of like end up asking is, don't explain these mechanics to me, tell me that I will not like lose money, and tell me what are the kind of things. So if you tell them stock volatility, no. If you tell them that bonds, like this is some other thing which the government is guaranteeing, yes. So that's actually like where the starting point is. You tell them about the safety factor of government bonds, for example, of something which is guaranteed by the government, for example. And that is actually like where the starting point works. And then the fact that you can actually like get a loan against it as an instrument. So, or like it is being bundled with an insurance product. So it's a kind of a combination of these factors which convince them. But mechanics, they just don't hear, and they tell us actually directly that no, I don't want to hear this.
Yeah, the problem with that though is that if they don't understand how things work, and if they're simply saying this is guaranteed by the government, they would be prime targets for scamsters.
Sure.
Anyone can say, this is guaranteed by the government, or this is SEBI registered. Registered means nothing, right? But people say all kinds of things to give the importance that, oh, we are somehow government regulated and all that. So in closing, maybe just a one line each from each of you. So what do you think we can do? In what I'm hearing from you, Anuradha, is that it's not the product; it's the people, sort of the environment of the bank. I think some of you are saying that as well. So, in one line, what would you recommend? Um, Certainly, Birla is listening, and a bunch of other industry people must be listening. What would your sort of message be to women and your message to the industry in terms of making it more inviting for women to participate? Let's end with that. Anuradha, you can go first.
Okay. So the two three things that I would actually like have. One is like, in terms of don't sell products, tell people how things relate to their lives, right? Like, so for example, emergency funds is what we're talking about. So, and liquidity, right? And when you think about them, there's so many instruments which are there, right? So don't tell them that here, buy a liquid fund. Tell them this is your emergency money you need to put into this instrument, right? It's the worst part of it. So relate your life back into, so jargon to be lessened drastically. The second thing is also about like actually not, again, like utilizing products which are much more complex, but actually like starting and building a grade of products. It's not that women don't understand, they don't have the time. And that's actually like something that I do place a premium on. And the third part of it is actually also that, women understand. So there is no reason that people don't, it's not that they don't understand products, they do. But products are not like what's important to them. The trust in the system is more important. And therefore, actually, ensure that there are things which, again, relate to their lives. For example, if there is an SIP, especially for the lower income segments, which is not date linked, right? I will save X amount a month. That is actually like given by them. But what if I save 10 rupees daily as opposed to 100 rupees on January 1st or like May 1st or whatever, the first of the month, right? Give them the flexibility to do things on a way, and then that kind of in terms of like how their products function, and that will actually like improve their trust in the system a lot.
Right. Great. Thank you. Mrin, you go next.
All right. So for the women, get involved, right? Get your hands dirty. You're going to lose money. That's part and parcel of the game. But before that, I would say spend some time reading up. There are a lot of reading resources available online on the Amphi website. I think probably on the Birla website as well. So, certainly look at good reading resources. Do not follow financial influencers for sure. Those are not good reading resources. So get your hands dirty, read up and get your hands dirty for the women. And for the industry, I would just say that, yes, a lot more needs to be done on education, on, helping women understand more on this very complex subject. And certainly, it's not easy to choose a fund. So maybe, a little bit more information, guidance on how one can do so would be good.
Smriti?
I think everything is mostly covered. I'll just add one more point to each. For women, I would just say that unless you're motivated enough, you will not feel the need to do it yourself. You rely easily on others because you're not motivated enough. You don't feel, it's not fun for you. So it's important that you start feeling confident and you start feeling that investment is not that complicated. It's so easy for you to do. And only then you'll enjoy the process, and then you'll feel like doing it more over the time. And for the industry, I would just say that transparency is the key. I think we're following it ourselves. We know that when you involve people in the process of investing, of managing their portfolio, of allocating their assets, it's even more, it's enriching for them in terms of the knowledge, plus it builds trust. So we follow it, but I would request everybody else to do so too, because gone are the times when, it would just be a black box where people just don't know what's happening behind the stage, how are mutual funds created, everything. Now it's time that people understand they're involved in the process and they feel more in control. So that's it from my side.
Right. Thank you. These are all good suggestions. One that I would like to add is just this, the fact that there are more women in finance visible, talking about it, not just on women topics. So I think we should be on all the other panels as well, rather than only on the panel about women. Oh, let's just put women. Okay, that shouldn't be happening. I think there should be more women visible on all kinds of platforms to normalize that women in finance do exist, and that finance can be managed by women. They can do it better. All of those things that we've been discussing all morning. So thank you very much for that interesting discussion. And I now hand it back to you. Thank you, Gautam.
An investor education and awareness initiative of Aditya Birla Sun Life Mutual Fund. Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.